My name is Laurens Wapenaar. I am product manager at FinDock, and with me is Klaas Koistra, also product manager at FinDock. And together, we'd like to show you what we have for you in our September 24 release. Everything that we'll be showing will already be available in your sandbox environments and will be pushed automatically to your production environments on September the 29th on Sunday night. If you'd like to follow this update or other release updates, you can go to status.findock.com and subscribe for notifications. We have 4 main things we'd like to talk about with you today. So we are continuing to redesigning our setup, and we have some other easy to implement related updates we'd like to cover. We have done several updates with regards to our fundraising pages and our giving pages. Mainly, we've added the capability to ask the donor to cover the fees, and we've added the capability to log tribute donations. But Klaas will show you what that looks like in a bit. Then, of course, like every release, we have many smaller updates, bug fixes, enhancements that in total we hope make a big difference. And at the end of this webinar, we'd like to talk a little bit about all the new things that we will be starting for the coming releases. First, an update on the status of our pilots and betas. 2 of our betas have been declared generally available. Those are our permissions beta and our nonprofit cloud beta for fundraising. And our Sweden pilot has been moved up to beta. In the coming releases, we hope to add more pilots, but like I said, we'll talk about them at the end of this webinar. To make our FinDock for fundraising package for nonprofit cloud GA, we've added several smaller enhancements that can be read about in our release notes, but we've added some feedback items like being able to exclude certain record types from the installment creation. We now sync with the payment method field, at least one way of a nonprofit cloud. And we've done improvements to giving pages so that all the different person accounts, address field types work. There were a couple that were still unavailable, and they should be there now. Then on to some of our bigger topics. In the past years, we've always, next to our fancy new features, we've always tried to make FinDock easier to implement so that it's easier to get a lot more value from the product by spending less money. 2 of the things we've been doing here is we've added a lot more in-app guidance and redesigning our setup, and we've launched an academy. With this release, we've continued this. And what we've been doing is completely redesigned our knowledge base, both the structure, the navigation. It's a completely different website with improved search and lots of other specific improvements. For instance, the ability to give feedback to a certain page so we can improve it to help you better. It's at the same place as always, so you can find it at docs.findock.com. Please don't hesitate to let us know what you think, and we will make it even better. Also, our academy has a completely new look. So the portal layout has changed, and the look and feel has changed, and also the course layout has been improved. And next to that, we've added a new course around FinDock for nonprofits to help you with nonprofit cloud and MPSP implementations. Check this out at academy.findock.com/plus. It's free to sign up for everyone, and a great resource if you'd like to learn more about FinDock. Then one of our biggest things that we're doing is completely redesigning the setup experience. In past releases, we have been working on this already. In this September release, we have strived for feature parity. So we've added lots of advanced features that weren't available yet. We've added a lot more processors. You can now install and configure all our source connectors like MPSP and nonprofit cloud from the new setup. And we have done many improvements based on your feedback. And in the next release, we will be adding more processors and implementing even more improvements. We hope to bring this GA by January 24 and make the old setup obsolete by then. So what have we done? If we go to the next slide, so we have made it possible to, next to the processors, also install and configure all the source connectors from here. So you no longer need to go to the installer. We've made sure that all the source settings that we have are now available in one place instead of across different tabs and pages, so that it's a lot easier to do this. And we also make it possible for you to discover which sources are available for you, so which connections are available to you in your specific environment. Now, next to porting and improving the configuration of all the features, we've also added some features to help you across all different features. So there's a whole bunch of steps that you need to do to get your FinDock environment live. And once it's live, there are many more things you can do to get more out of the product. To help you with that, we've added two things. So we've added a setup guide, a high-level setup guide that takes you through the high-level steps and links to certain resources. So we go from learning about FinDock to adding the necessary permissions, making the right connections, installing processors, so that you have one overview of all the things that you could be doing. And at the end, we also help you discover what more you can do. The same is true for the homepage. It contains a lot more resources now. Everything from the knowledge base to the academy, but also to all kinds of YouTube videos that we have with recordings and demos, and other resources like blogs, customer stories, where you can learn more about what other customers and partners have been doing with FinDock to get the most out of it. One final thing is that we've also added the ability for you to enter your contact information in the setup. So what we've seen is that often many people work on a project, sometimes people leave, sometimes people join, and it's often hard for us to track exactly who to contact for important updates. So we've added a page where you can tell us who needs to know what. Currently, that's split in billing context, so everything related to your FinDock subscription, and support and product context. So that could be anything from security-related notifications to ask to give you additional information on certain changes and releases. But these are also where sometimes we need your help to define what the product needs to do and what it should be. And this is also where you can enter some contact information for. We also show here all the other places you can get more information from us, from release notifications to status notifications in case something is broken. So please go to the new setup and enter your information so we know who to contact when it's important. Like I said, we added a whole bunch of processors to make the new setup relevant for more customers and partners. We've added about 6 or 7 already and aim to add a couple more before the production release. And then in the next November release, we will add basically everything that's left. So make sure that you check this list. If your processor is there, head on to the new setup instead of the old one, and tell us what you think. And that's the last thing I'd like to point out. We need your help to make the best possible version of this. You can do this in 2 ways. During the beta, please always send us feedback on things that don't work or that you think are still unclear, or could be better, you can send an email to me directly. That's laurens@findock.com, or to our support email, and there they will know where to send it, which is me. But you can also, if you have the time, participate in a usability test where we ask you to perform a couple of tasks and then see if these are possible for you and whether they are clear enough. And this helps us determine whether the design we've made, the steps we've designed, are actually good enough or that they need improvement. I will post the link for that in the chat so you can sign up easily and pick a slot. And now it's on to class.
Thank you, Laurens. And it's great to see that the feedback is becoming greater and greater every release. And we're working towards a place where it becomes relevant and a better experience for everyone. So really excited what's to come, and also really excited to see the feedback that you will give us through the channels that we've talked to. I'd like to share two very exciting features that come to giving pages and the API around the ability to cover transaction fees and tributes. Before I show them to you, I'd like to briefly introduce them to you. And the first one is the ability to do tribute gifts with FinDock. Now, for people who are not familiar with tribute gifts is a way where you can honor or celebrate someone important to you by giving in honor of a memory of a charity or an organization that's close to your heart or the heart of the person you want to honor. It's a very common way to give in, especially in the United States, but it's becoming more common in Europe as well. And we've added the ability to do so very easily on giving pages, as well as through the FinDock API. It supports both one-time and recurring donations. It's really easy to set up, and it works with the nonprofit cloud out of the box. The second feature that we're adding with this release is the ability to ask your donors or payers to cover transaction fees. This is a feature that has been requested a lot, where fundraising organizations want the ability to, especially in payment methods that have high transaction fees, to ask the donor to cover those fees so they can 100% of their donation goes to the cause of the charity. This also is supported both for one-time and recurring. We have several settings for you to modify the behavior on how the ability of cover transaction fees works. I'll show that to you later. And for fundraising, there's an out-of-the-box field mapping that also allows you to report on how many of your customers have covered the transaction fees and what the amount was, so you can easily track the success of adding this feature to your fundraising form and determining if you want to keep it or remove it. What better way to show it to you? So I'll dive straight into a demo. And as you can see, I've configured a giving page for my charity about saving the rhinos, and I've enabled both tribute gifts as well as the ability to cover transaction fees. These work on existing pages, so there's no need to create new pages. You can just enable these features. But let's say I want to give, I went to the birthday of Laurens and I wanted to give a €60 donation, because Laurens said, I don't want any presents, just give to the charity that is close to my heart about saving the rhinos. So I tick this box that says, do you want to dedicate this gift to someone? I say, yes, I do. I select it. In this case, it's in honor of somebody, and then the page will ask you for who it is. In this case, it's for Laurens Wapenaar. And I also would like to inform Laurens Wapenaar about the fact that I gave something to the charity, so he knows I indeed made up to the question he asked and gave something. So again, I'll fill in his details here. I can also, if it's, for example, in memory of somebody, give a donation or give a donation in memory of somebody and send a notification to the family that's family of the person that passed away. But in this case, I'll send the email to Lawrence, and I'll provide a message that he can then receives. Provided a small message that then can be shared with him. In this case, I will then provide my own details. And then on the checkout page, I can select the payment method. In this case, I will pay with credit card, but I've also enabled the ability for donors to cover for the transaction fees. And as you can see, the box is now unchecked, but I also want to cover for the transaction fee, so I'll enable it. And as you can see on the page, the amount is updated to reflect the actual amount that will be given when people enter their card details on the next page, so as though they know what to give. If I then hit donate, I'm taken to the checkout page, and I'll fill in my credit card details in this case. And I'll hit pay. And now the transaction is completed. Now I will go into Salesforce to show you what this looks like in practice. So as you can see here, I've created this is my fundraising environment with the new nonprofit cloud. So a gift transaction has been created. I'll pick up the right one from just now. So a gift transaction has created for the current amount of €61.74. But also, as you can see here, it specifically splits out the cover amount that has been given and selected for this specific gift transaction. Additionally, since this was a tribute donation, in the new nonprofit cloud, there's also a gift tribute created. So as you can see here, there's a gift tribute created by FinDock automatically related to the gift transaction that has been created. And if I open that up, I can see the type of tribute that it was. In this case, it was in honor of the name of the honoree, Laurens Wapenaar, as well as the details about who to contact. So I see the name of Laurens that I filled in. I see the thank you message that I've provided and also the email address. And this data then you can use to either through Flow or through your Marketing Cloud integration, send out an email to the recipient, maybe add some more context about why the cost you are giving to is important, and also track the status of sending out the notification here on the notification status and all the other fields that are provided. One other thing I wanted to show you as well, which we added in this release, is the fact that we've added support for automatically setting the default gift designation on gift transaction on one-time donations. I've provided a default designation in this environment, so that's also provided here. Now you might be wondering, how does this look in the builder? And I want to briefly show that to you as well. So in the pages builder for the page we just were at, there is in the payment form, there are two places where you can configure these settings. And let's start with tributes. So on the amounts and frequency, there's a new tab, which is called tributes, where you can easily either disable or enable tributes, configure all the labels and the text and the help text to your liking. We've provided great defaults that you can use, but if you want to change them, for example, if you want to translate it, that's all possible. And also determine if you want to collect details to send out a notification, yes or no, because sometimes you don't want that. Additionally, for the donor cover fee, we've added a section around configuring the ability to cover the transaction fees. Here again, you can configure, for example, the title that is shown, also the increase of percentage. So in my case, it was 2.9%, but depending on what you prefer, you can change this amount around on a page basis. And you can also decide to either provide an explanation like I did here, or just to remove it entirely and make the page a lot cleaner. Additionally, you want to report on these fields. So there's an ability to map the cover amount that's provided, like I just showed you, both on an installment and a recurring level to either the fields that we provided or fields that you want to use yourself if you have a custom field that you want to use. Finally, there is also the ability to enable the transaction cover fee by default, yes or no. It's off for now, but you can set this up to your liking, just how you like. And that's just in a few minutes a glimpse at both tributes and donor cover. We're very excited to launch this and looking forward to your feedback. So if you have any, do let us know. And now it's time to get back to the presentation.
Klaas, thank you for the demo. Excited to see these two pretty cool features. We have two questions about these features, and the question is the same, whether these are also available out of the box for NPSP.
That's a great question. So for the donor cover fee feature is source independent, so that works regardless of the source you use. If you use NPSP or Nonprofit Cloud or just use FinDock standalone, you can use it wherever you want. For tributes, currently we're launching only for the nonprofit, with support for the Nonprofit Cloud, and also it's only available there. If you have feedback or customers that want to use it with NPSP as well, do let us know, because we are thinking about if we should add it at a later stage to other sources as well. But we wanted to start with the new Nonprofit Cloud because it's the thing that excites us most at the moment. So do let us know if you have customers that are interested in using it for NPSP, so we can talk to them and understand if we should add this to NPSP as well.
And we have a couple follow-up questions. So are the tributes GA in the September release?
Yes, they are.
Can tribute gifts only be made in euros, or is this adjustable?
It's currency independent, so any currency works. I just showed euros in this case, but if you want to do US dollars, anything, it's independent of currency.
And finally, are there plans to allow for a fixed amount cover fee instead of a percentage?
That's also great feedback. I'd love to learn more about the use case. Currently, it's only percentage based, because that's the most commonly used pattern, and they wanted to keep it as easy as possible for all customers to use it. But we are looking at feedback here and seeing what's possible in the future, but no active plans to add fixed amount yet.
Okay, thanks. That was everything.
That's it. Great. I'll restart the presentation. And I wanted to continue to the small wins that make a big difference, hopefully to you, with one very exciting set of updates to our Pay Links feature. So Pay Links is a way for people that are not familiar to capture money on an already existing open installment. For example, you used in the scenario where an initial payment failed and you want to capture that payment in a dunning scenario, or other scenarios where you want to easily capture an open invoice, for example. And we've added the ability to more tightly integrate Pay Links into your customer journey with the support for custom redirects, both on when it's successfully paid, as well as if there is a failure on the way. So you can now tightly integrate and take your payer back to the place where they started. Additionally, we've also made it a lot easier to track the behavior of the Pay Links page by both adding Google Analytics tracking and Google Tag Manager tracking, similar to what we already have with Giving Pages, where you can add your tags and then configure and see the usage of Pay Links there as well. And finally, as part of the entire Pay Links enhancements, we took the time to refresh all our payment method logos that we both use ourselves on Pay Links and Giving Pages, as well as provide to you through the API, and enhance them and improve them and make them more modern and nice looking. So that's also a great enhancement to make Pay Links even better. A couple of there's a lots of other smaller and bigger enhancements, but I wanted to go over them here briefly, and I wanted to highlight the fact that we've also made a slight change in how we deal with the empty criteria and guided matching to make it more robust to empty strings. And all the other details you can read in our release notes that are published on our docs, which you can find on docs.findoc.com.
So that's it. We will stick around for questions. If you have somewhere else to be, or it's time for the weekend, that's it from our side, and we'll see you next time.